Hello and welcome to the Enforcing the Resource Quota screencast. In this screencast, we will walk through the process of setting up the group level and the user level quotas. Quotas can be applied to the resources of the types virtual machines, images, data stores, and networks. Quotas can be applied at the user group level or at the specific user level. The lowest quota is being resolved. That means if your user quota for the virtual machine resource is set to 2 and the group quota is set to 5, the user quota is going to be applied. Note that user quota is not going to override the group quota. So if your group quota is set to 5 and your user quota is set to 10, the group quota is going to be applied. There are the following settings that can be configured. Type. Select the type of this quota based on the goal you'd like to achieve. The available types are virtual machines, images, data stores, or networks. For example, if you want to limit the number of running virtual machines, then the quota type must be set to VM. However, if you'd like to limit the number of address leases that can be used, the type must be set to network. Cluster ID or resource ID is acting as a scope of the quota. If the type is set to VMs, then you should specify whether the quota must be applied to a specific cluster or it should be global, while in other cases the scope is going to be applied to a specific selected resource. For example, in case of setting up the quota for address leases, you should specify one or multiple virtual networks. Identifier is going to be dependent on the selected type. For example, with the virtual machine quota, you can select running virtual machines, running CPUs, or system disk size. The quotas for a group can be configured by opening a specific group's info card and switching to the Quotas tab. By default, there are no quota configured. In the scope of this demonstration, I'm going to configure the global virtual machine quota to limit the number of total virtual machines in the group. I'm going to set the value to 4, meaning that there can only be 4 virtual machines owned by this user group. Please note that this considers total virtual machines and not only the running ones. To set up the specific user quota, navigate to the System, Users, and open the specific user info card and then switch to the Quota tab. In the scope of this demonstration, I'm going to configure the same quota settings as for the group, but with a different value. The value is going to be set to 2. Since the user value is lower than the group value, the user value is going to be taken into the account. Now, when the quota has been applied, it's time to test the enforcement. Log in as the user with the quota enforcement settings. Go to the Instances, VMs, and press the Create button. Select the virtual machine template you want to instantiate. In the scope of this demonstration, I'm going to instantiate the OpenSUSE 15 virtual machine template. Set the number of instance parameter to the one greater than the quota. Leave everything else as is and press the Finish button. Once pressed, you should receive an error message that you are overstepping the enforced quota. Note that both user and the group had no virtual machines at all, thus 2 virtual machines were started successfully. And this is how easy it is to create and manage both users and group quotas. Thank you for watching and see you in the next screencast.